Hello, have you had a nice Christmas? Did Father Christmas bring you some nice presents? This is one of mine. Ring for a cuppa. Shall we try it? Shall we see if we can get a cuppa if we ring it? Right, I'm going to tell you a tale. It's a sad tale, but a happy ending. Molly's been kicked by a horse. Kicked in the face by a horse. I've told you it has a happy ending. Just wait. So Boxing Day, me and Molly go for a walk in our local forest, along a forest path. It's a walk we've done a number of times, and we usually meet one or two dog walkers and occasionally people on horses, but more often than not dog walkers, quite often nobody. So on Boxing Day, the day after Christmas, I took Molly for a walk in the forest, and on the way out we actually passed a lady on a horse and there were no issues. And what I normally do when I come across other dog walkers with dogs off the lead or horses, people on horses, Molly's never on a lead, certainly not when we're in the countryside or on the seashore, and I have her to a word, and so I get her to my heel, ask her to stay, she usually does, and we pass each other. Nothing untoward happens. Dogs usually sniff one another, horses usually trot on by. So we'd already passed a lady on a horse, and as I say, there were no issues. Molly just ran up the path, past the horse, and that was that. But on the way back, we passed another lady on a horse. Now I got Molly into the side, and she was at my feet and under control as the horse was going past. And as Molly usually does, she started to run on down the path, away from the horse. But then she turned round and decided she would have a sniff. And before I knew it, she'd got too close to the back of the horse. The horse had kicked out and caught Molly square in the face, bowled her over. And the yelp, and the crack, I felt sure there was something going to be amiss. But anyway, it had happened in a split second. There was no winding the clock back. Hold on, mate. Come on. There was no winding the clock back, and so I got Molly and gave her a quick check over, put some pressure on her skull, round her face, round her body, her legs, checked it out, and she seemed okay. The horse and rider went their way, me and Molly went our way. She ran down the path, and we had about another mile to go before we got to where I'd parked the car. And in that mile, Molly looked perfect. She ran well, she walked well, she barked, she jumped, she sniffed. She done everything she would normally do when she's out for a walk. And so I thought, well, maybe lesson learned here, maybe we've got away with something. Just don't go too close to the back end of a horse. Don't let your dog go, and certainly you don't go, or it could be you getting kicked. Anyway, we got to the car and we got home, and Molly had a meal later that day, and she was fine, she ate it okay. And the next day the same, she was fine the next day, she ate the meals, we went out for a walk, she was great, nothing untoward. In fact, on that day, this is 2 days after she was kicked, I actually bathed Molly and gave her a good dry, and in drying her, I know I put a lot of pressure around her face and her body, and she never yelped, so I felt, yeah, you know, she hasn't suffered anything with this kick other than the kick itself. But the day after that, her face swelled up. There was a big swelling on the side of her face. Now, I'd used a bit of sort of, I don't know, I'd thought about this and I thought, well, if you'd been kicked in the face by a horse, if it had broken a tooth, or dislodged a tooth, or broke your jaw, or cracked a bone, you certainly wouldn't be able to eat anything. And Molly had eaten about 2 or 3 meals in that space of time, so I didn't feel as though there was anything that serious, but this swelling on her face needed to be looked at. Now I'm going to bring Molly in shortly. I'll try and show you this swelling on her face. I'm not too sure she'll stand, and if she won't stand, I'll probably take her out in the garden and try and get a photograph when she is standing. Yeah, so she had this swelling on the side of her face, so we took her to the vet, and she wouldn't let the vet go near her. And if you're a dog owner, you'll understand this. Dogs don't like vets. They just don't, do they? So I don't think it was a case of she didn't want the vet to touch her face because it was sore. She just didn't want the vet to touch her. And the vet was round the sharp end and he didn't want to get bit. So he said, look, we'll have to sedate your dog and check it out under sedation. Are you as thirsty as I am? Come on! And so I had to leave Molly with the vet, and the vet sedated her. And you know, we left her there most of the day, and then we went to collect her. The vet had shaved the side of Molly's face. He'd given her a good inspection. It said there was no need for an x-ray, couldn't see that there was anything broken. She didn't seem to be in any pain. But to get the swelling down, he must have lanced the swelling and taken some fluid from it, because the swelling had gone down. And Molly looked fine and she couldn't get out of the vets quick enough. Okay, so it's now, how many days? 4 days, 5 days since the horse kicked her. And she's looking great, apart from the fact she's had one side of her face shaved. So I'll bring Molly, in fact I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to go and bring Molly in now, but I'm going to make myself a cup of tea. And while I'm out there, I'm going to sack the domestic. I'm going to pay the maid off. That was a joke. We haven't got a maid. Right, I'll go and get Molly. I'll make myself a cup of tea. It's the only way I'm going to get one. Molly? Where you at? Molly? Come on. Hey, sweetheart. Okay, I've got myself a cup of tea. If you want anything doing, do it yourself. Right, hold on, wait. Let me have a drink of this. Right, so I've got a couple of treats in my pocket for Molly. They're these gravy bones. Okay, they're quite hard. If there's anything wrong with your jaw, with your teeth, you wouldn't be eating these things, would you? Good girl. Do you want another? Do you want another one of these gravy bones? Come on then. Good girl. One more and that's it. Okay? Okay, so as you can see, Molly's fine. I'm fine. We're both looking forward to the next gardening year, aren't we, Mol? Springtime comes round, we'll get out in that garden, get some stuff planted, won't we? Yeah, and me and you will get some nice walks out in the lakes, on the fells, in the forests, in the woods, on the seashore. Yes, we will, won't we? Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed this little video. I know you'll have enjoyed seeing Molly fitting well. I'm certainly glad she's got over it. And we look forward to the new gardening year that's just around the corner. So this is Homegrown Veg, signing out.